James Spittle here on North Star also feel that they favour the left as well. Anyway, we'll find out what they talk. The 5-minute gun around the ends into the box. And it's Alinghi coming in from the starboard hand or race control end of the line, and coming in from the pin or left, Team New Zealand.
He is crossing. Yeah.
All right, so Team New Zealand looks like they may just cross in front of Alinghi. That tells us that the starboard or the boat end of the line is a little bit upwind, a little bit favored.
Yes, he's crossing. Easy across.
Where's your boss?
Right on.
Just good pressure through the middle, but if you got tight to leeward, you'd still be in the pressure.
That is the voice of Adam Beechel.
That much more pressure in the right.
Outstanding tactician. That's the voice of Tony Ray coming on. He's the main chief man, Team New Zealand.
Well, so there we have the initial dial-up or confrontation between the boats has been neutralized by the fact that the boat end or the starboard end of the starting line is slightly upwind.
Was the last one I heard.
So no dial-up today.
Team New Zealand got across the bow, but now starting into circles, and they are a little bit behind already in the circling because of the close proximity of their cross. But nothing dangerous at the moment. 3:20 to go. Wind direction still 335, but we had a little pop just now up to 13 and a half knots. That's the first time we've seen that much wind in the last 20 or 30 minutes.
You'd have to turn.
So getting deep down into the box now. In fact, you're about 300 meters down and still diving down as the Omega clock goes past 3 minutes.
Well, I look for one more circle here, Peter. 250 is still a little bit early to be going back at the line. Alinghi throwing a little bit of a mini dial-up into the mix here. Tacking under to try and block Team New Zealand from driving back first. Team New Zealand with more momentum, though, because they haven't turned. They may be able to get around in front of Alinghi. We'll see how quickly Alinghi can reaccelerate. There they go. Brad just said he didn't mind the committee boat. But they've switched their plan now. They're going for a right-hand start on Alinghi.
Which really reinforces your point, Ed, that it's pretty even.
Pretty even. They're not going to get the left like they wanted in a tight left type of a situation from the position they were just in. So they're going to go ahead for a little bit of a split start, try to use the advantage of the starboard end being favored slightly.
Inside 2 minutes now on the Omega clock, counting down to the start of race 3. America's Cup 2003. Team New Zealand got the leeward position. Alinghi in the windward position out to the right.
And you can see that Team New Zealand wants that left-hand spot. They tacked it nice and early in there so that Alinghi wouldn't be tempted to come around their transom. And now it's a push and pull situation. Alinghi wants to push things towards the line and get Team New Zealand maybe to be a little early.
That's good now.
Team New Zealand wants to use their leeward position to hold Alinghi back and get a nice, powerful position off the line at 0. Coming up on 1 minute to go now. They've got only about 20 or 25 seconds to kill here, so they're fairly close to the line. You can see Alinghi pushing as hard as they can, trying to get over the top of Team New Zealand. Probably not going to happen, but they're at least pulling the action towards the line.
Oh, Team New Zealand right behind. They're trying to get behind, but anyway, it's Alinghi who are right up into the air. They haven't gone through the tack.
No, see, what they did was they pulled Team New Zealand up towards the line by doing that move, and then they turned up. And now they're going to be up, they're going to start on that right-hand end on Alinghi. Team New Zealand's going to be able to start left. So
coming down to 25 24 seconds coming down to 20 seconds now. They're making their commitment. It is a split tack start here for the start of race 3. Team New Zealand are on starboard, powering up towards the pin end of the line. And meanwhile, winding up on port, it is Alinghi going across to race control. They're racing split tack start. Alinghi further advanced by half a boat length up on the line. Team New Zealand just a little bit back further. But Team New Zealand on starboard powering out to the left. Meanwhile, it's Alinghi on port, breaking right. So Alinghi will have the benefit of the starboard hand advantage when they come back together.
Peter, we're still at 330 on the wind direction, 333 right now, 12 knots of breeze. At the moment, Alinghi clearly in front because of that slight advantage on the right-hand side of the line. The farther they split, though, the more risk they take that the left might pay for Team New Zealand.
So they're both still holding their heading as they had at the start. And it's Alinghi breaking right, holding on to port. And it's Alinghi who's got the advantage by 20 meters.
And that's a powerful 20 meters there, Peter, because it's also the right-hand side, that starboard tack advantage.
We get a good chance. Yeah.
Brad wants him to pull it across, so we'll look for attack shortly by Alinghi.
Just in this puff. Oh, it's gone even further.
Brad Butterworth calling to come back in this puff to nail home the advantage. So here comes the tack coming back from Alinghi.
And Team New Zealand just now starting to sail into a little bit more pressure. Starting to see some white caps there, but it's a little bit of a right-hand shift. 338 now, so 5 degrees right since the start, half a knot more wind speed.
So the early advantage to Alinghi at the start of this race 3. When they come back, Alinghi will have the starboard hand advantage. The wind at 12 knots from 338. Brad Butterworth saying good pressure now on the right. So the decision for Alinghi to go right looks to be good.
The first number doesn't work, eh?
And Alinghi leading by 45 meters, nearly out to a 2-boat length advantage soon into the start here of this first beat. So things going beautifully for Alinghi.
Oh, and now it's a bit of a drag race. Not that windy, but enough to fully power the boats up. So here we go. See how the speeds are between the boats. See if Team New Zealand can gain a little bit from that position. If they don't gain in the next 4 to 7 minutes, then they'll tack back at Alinghi. They'll consolidate the loss that they have on the left-hand side, and they'll try to mix it up a bit in the middle of the course.
Wouldn't want to see it lower than 9.5 here.
A little more pressure now, I bet.
Looking down from aloft in the mainsail of Team New Zealand. See everybody who's not critical to be working at the moment stays low out of the wind. Breeze dropping just a little bit at the moment, down into about the 11 knot, 11 1/4 range. And also shifting a little more to the right, 343. So Alinghi,
pretty good numbers of targets.
and Alinghi pretty happy in this early stage. They're getting the shift first, and it's going their way so far.
Tony Ray saying pretty good numbers at targets on board Team New Zealand.
What I see, just looking at the two boats from our vantage point, is that Alinghi is pointing higher, has a little more pressure than Team New Zealand. And there you can see the directions they're going on virtual spectator. Team New Zealand not pointing quite as high and losing steadily as this shift has gone to the right. Now, I don't think that's a difference in the boats. I think that's a difference in the wind speed that the two boats have. I bet you if we looked at the instruments on both boats, we'd see that Alinghi's got about 3/4 of a knot more wind speed than Team New Zealand, and that means Alinghi can point higher.
So Alinghi really have got the benefit of that breeze, no doubt about a big right-hand shift.
Well, we're over to 352 now on our instruments, which is a 20-degree right-hand shift. That's the biggest change in the breeze that we've had in the last half an hour. It's 20 degrees to the right of what they started in.
So Alinghi now leading Team New Zealand by 6 boat lengths. And they're not even halfway up this first beat.
Well, there's plenty of race course to go here. You got these clouds pushing through, little bits of, there's even a little bit of rain over by Gulf Harbor that might affect the wind and direction and speed. And right now we're reading 13.5 knots. You see the leach cord starting to flutter on the Genoa of Team New Zealand right there. That means the wind speed's coming up. And you've got to tighten that cord a little bit. Steady direction now, 352, 13.3 knots.
Steady on this pressure, Daggy. A little more pressure again in 5. Nice pressure building on your bow here now.
Picking that right-hand shift out of the start line. And they've been able to convert that into a 6-length advantage very early on in the piece. That 20-degree right-hand wind shift with pressure has been a big advantage to Alinghi. A lot of discussion of both boats talking about the modes they're sailing, making sure they're sailing target speed.
Too fast, you mean, Warren?
Team New Zealand has no option here but to hang tough and hope they get a bit of left-hand shift
1.5 minutes on the other deck
to enable them to get back across to Alinghi. But with the breeze gone this far right, it has really skewed the right-hand side of the track, and there it is, 6 lengths the advantage. Alinghi on the right-hand side, and the breeze has really shifted around to the right, which is very well demonstrated there. Looking at that course configuration, initially the wind was coming down this direction there, and we see how far round to the right it's gone. That's making life pretty difficult for NZL 82. They really need a left-hand wind shift to help them get back in this game.
Well, as we take notice of what's
a little bit there now of us.
being said on board, and it's important that a lot of information comes out off there.
It might be a bit of pressure.
Just listen to what they're
a little bit of shadow
chatting
as well,
about. It was interesting before start that Brad Butterworth basically said, Peter, no, I'm happy with the committee boat. It's as if he was saying, right, no, let's go right. Right looks good initially anyway.
Well, he had the aid, obviously, of his weather team, giving him wind readings before the start. And then it just comes down to that intuitive feeling that Butterworth seems to have to pick the first shift off the line. And Alinghi have certainly got this one spot dead right, getting the first right-hand shift to jump out to a quite a good advantage of around 6 lengths.
Nice lift in this puff. Nice lift in this puff here.
Just top of the breeze, no more than this.
Just hanging in this righty, eh?
A little less than 10.
He thinks it's steady all the way through.
The afterguard of Alinghi, very happy with their position. Brad Butterworth, Murray Jones saying that they're just hanging in the right-hand puff.
Close to the bottom of it here.
And Team New Zealand here on screen just are not in it. Alinghi up to windward, has more pressure, more right hand, and they're just opening up all the time.
The bow's not getting any closer.
No more than this.
I've actually got us going forward since the start.
Some right-hand breeze.
Couple
Going
of
to be a little
degrees.
lighter here for 15.
Maximum righty at the moment here.
Yeah, it's going to still start. Pretty good pressure coming back up. Going to have more pressure in 10. Funny little bullet. Well, no. Not a lot more though. Coming on now.
Steering to the mark. Should be just above our line. Oh, there it is.
Where is it, Bill?
Yeah, I've got it. It's only 3 minutes. You got it. It's going to come back. I think the puffs are righties here.
Full pressure on the right. Bring it down, guys.
Cross speed 325.
Here it comes. Just steady at this, the pressure. There's a little more pressure coming on at 10. Hold that. That's spanking forward. He is starting to head a little with us now too.
It feels better pressure now, Bishop.
Just average. He has headed a little, but he's a little higher than us at times still.
Hold that.
Straight towards the end of Thongaproa now.
Well, we had
Not
a
so much
split tack
straight on our
start with each team basically getting the side they wanted, and just a moment ago there, it looks as though Clay Oliver's on the boat there for Team New Zealand down the back. So whether he's there in place of Mike Drummond, I'm not sure who it is. But anyway, we'll see a bit of Clay Oliver a little bit later on. Anyway, let's see exactly what's happened since the start. It was a split tack start. Alinghi going right, Team New Zealand left. Alinghi with the early advantage.
One more time by this right pressure.
Well, there's Alinghi top of screen there with close to 8 lengths advantage as they get up towards mark number 1. And we can see exactly what's been happening here. Alinghi with the yellow trail had more right-hand breeze from there, and that has enabled Alinghi there just to open the gap the whole way. Look at the difference there to down there, and essentially that was achieved by Alinghi, always getting the puff from the right first. In Team New Zealand, the blue trail you can see is just always a little bit lower, sailing away from the mark, whereas Alinghi sailing up towards it, and that is, in my mind, absolutely been a function of right-hand wind strength. And so that really comes back to the decision off the start line by Alinghi to take the right. Team New Zealand clearly wanted the left, and we now have an 8 boat length advantage to Alinghi, and this is a big lead after only 1 leg.
So Peter, they'll need to be a rocket downwind.
They'll need to do something, John, because Alinghi picked the first right-hand shift. You've got to give credit to the weather team. They got it correct. Brad Butterworth was heads up. He was more than happy to go right. More pressure, a little bit of right-hand shift, and the performance difference has been quite huge. Again, Alinghi had this uncanny ability to get the first shift off the line. It comes as no surprise to me. Their tactical decision-making is impeccable. Familiar, Russell Coots, helming. Murray Jones in front, on board Team New Zealand, Dean Barker. Immediately.
Maybe a touch softer for the next minute, Daggy, then it should start to build.
It's Adam Bishop.
It's Adam Bishop. Immediately in front of Dean Barker, seems to be having a lot of input. Of course, we hear his voice a lot because he's the person with the microphone on that we're listening to.
Back yourself, boys, back yourself.
Team New Zealand closing the game up at the moment, rapidly gaining on Alinghi. It would seem that they're just picking up a bit of breeze. Back down to 125 metres. This will warm the hearts of Team New Zealand fans. It would seem that the breeze is starting to even out a little bit. But that's that left-hand ley line they're getting very close towards. And it would seem that the breeze is just starting to shift left a little bit. Just listen on board Team New Zealand.
Nice pressure here, Daggy. A little more to slowly build.
Keep talking about that.
Adam Bichel just talking to the leeward trimmer. James Dagg is up to the tack and very conscious of their speed build post the tack. The tacks will knock a little bit of the speed off the boat, and the catching of the speed build.
I think he's going to come into our breeze.
Very much the skill of the helmsman and the leeward trimmer. Team New Zealand now going across on port tack, just trying to minimise their loss.
Coming up for the first cross, and the distance between the boats reducing rapidly, of course, as they converge the advantage line. 4.5 lengths. Listening to Adam Bichel.
Let's have a look at the top mark, Pete. There's maybe a bit more right again.
So certainly looking here, Team New Zealand did the right thing, hanging tough, waiting for a bit of left-hand shift. But PJ and Ed at Alinghi, you just have to admire the way they were able to nail that first shift up the line, and my word, they did it today.
Well, Glenn, racing's racing, and you got to look around, as we just were talking about. Actually, it's a kind of a day where you got to pay attention to the clouds and the little rainstorm that goes through. As they were in the pre-start, Brad Butterworth recognized that they weren't going to get the tight left start that they wanted. So next best thing was a wide right start because of the angle of the starting line. And they sailed long enough until they got a little something that they could obviously go back on, and it worked out pretty nicely for them.
I must say that 5 minutes out, Buddy Melgers and James Spittle and several others here on board an All-Star thought the left was the way to go. But
well, I think generally it did look a little bit better, but I don't think that they were magically understanding that the right was going to work on Alinghi. I think they just went for the early advantage off the line when they realized they weren't going to get the start that they wanted, which was that tight left start. That's what they called on the way into the pre-start. Now we have a wind direction at the moment of 333 degrees at 11 knots, exactly what they started in. So the difference that you see right now between Alinghi and Team New Zealand is that Alinghi had the right-hand pressure fill into them first when they were on the right.
It's only about 3 lengths away.
And that extra pressure was worth the 4 lengths that they're ahead right now.
and the wind is only 11 knots, nothing like the 15 to 16, so Alinghi have got a very good advantage here.
Well, and now they're very close to the left-hand corner of the racetrack. Port tack lay line. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if this next time Alinghi tacks that they may be able to lay the mark from here as the breeze is filling in from the left. But you can see that Team New Zealand, to their credit, have done a nice job of being patient and hanging in there. And now look, oh, I bet you Team New Zealand holds on their course here and goes right through to leeward of Alinghi. No, maybe not. Looks like they're going to go ahead and bail out. Alinghi went a little bit far, just trying to maybe sneak it to where they could lay the mark. But there's nice pressure coming to these guys at the moment. This race is far from over, Peter.
See what this puff does. See what this puff does.
Don't want to take it because he'll just take. Have a look at him. Have a look at him. Okay, gotcha. Okay, and that's what we're taking. No. Okay, let's go then.
What do you think this next one is here?
There's the weather mark right in the center of the screen.
It might go a little more left in sort of 30, 40 seconds.
That's the voice of Adam Bichel, Team New Zealand.
We hold for another, yeah.
If it goes left, Team New Zealand will make a little gain, but they don't have a lot of room to run this way. They should be a little careful about if it does go left, they don't want to overlay.
That hasn't really gotten a lot closer, but
It's coming into more pressure now.
Alinghi starting to get a little bit of a left-hand shift, and that's why you see that advantage line turning down a little bit. Actually, just as we spoke there,
Yeah, I know.
it
We're
shifted
coming
slightly
This
right.
is a header. We should go underneath
forget
it.
a header, we're going to be tacking.
But yeah, see now, Alinghi's just got some pressure. Little puff coming onto Alinghi. Looks like a little bit of a right-hand shift, and here they go tacking in it. Team New Zealand is going to be beyond the lay line when they tack now. They were looking for a little lefty, and it didn't really fill into them. And Now they're going to be trapped out to this side.
Happy to roll here for pressure.
Well, Team New Zealand have done a jolly good job to try and minimise the damage. They're close, what, to 200 metres. Now it's around 70 or 80 astern. So they will be 3 boat lengths behind.
Good pressure here.
Well,
and that's close enough to attack.
And it looks like just a little gain here for Alinghi in the past 30, 40 seconds with that pressure that they got. There's the distance. Yep, just a couple lengths of a gain back for Alinghi. And that's how shifty it is out here today. 345 is the wind direction now. So you see we got a 12-degree right-hand shift, and the separation of Alinghi to the right gained that amount, 2-3 boat lengths almost.
Touch more pressure, slowly building here, Daggy.
Alinghi will tack right in here somewhere on the ley line to the mark. There they go. They will be able to affect Team New Zealand's wind from there. We'll see if Team New Zealand hangs on to that position or takes 2 tacks.
Build and then go on the wind.
That's the voice of Murray Jones. So around 2 minutes to Mark 1 here in race 3.
Oh, we just see Team New Zealand turning down right there. They're just starting to feel the effect of the swirling wind coming off of Alinghi's sails. But both boats are slightly overlaid to the weather mark, so it's not a smart move to be tacking twice right there on Team New Zealand. You just got to hang in there and go as fast as you can.
Going to have more breeze coming in 15.
There's the airflow off of Alinghi, just disturbing the wind a little bit on Team New Zealand. Changes not only the speed of it, slows it down a little bit, but it also affects its angle. Makes it a little bit of a header for the trailing boat.
I think we have more breeze than them. John. On this side.
So Murray Jones reassuring Brad Butterworth and Russell Coutts. He thinks Alinghi has more breeze
no less than this, Daggy.
Team New Zealand. You can't have a feeling that the distance on the water at the moment is very definitely pressure related. And the crucial decision of getting the first shift. So Alinghi clear and under no pressure at the moment.
We're happy just to bear away here.
Brad said he's happy to bear away. That's it because they're in a 350 wind direction now, back to the right.
Appreciate it.
So they'll bear away, set, get going, see what the wind does, and watch their opponent.
Just have a good look upwind, mate.
Yeah. Excuse me, please. Excuse me, please.
Go, go.
Ready.
Just hold. Just a little ways to go, Nesta.
What's ahead?
Yeah, get ease bit now if you like.
Okay, that's all right.
That's good.
Mark 1, race 3, and Alinghi have picked up where they left off at the end of race 2, leading round Mark 1 as the Amiga clock ticks against Team New Zealand. That is a big advantage to Alinghi at the end of this first meet. 5 legs to go. And the Amiga clock stops at 28 seconds. They go into the second off-wind leg. Now, up goes the SAP Jenica or asymmetrical spinnaker. Perhaps in this weight of breeze of 14.9 to 15 knots. They may be able to harness the breeze better than they did in race 2.
Well, Peter, you got to get your head out of the boat again here because we have a little rain squall going over the top of us. That's going to adjust the wind. That's why we have 15 knots right now. We're on the front edge of this rain, and that's pushing wind out of the cloud. But that's going to change, and it's going to shift. So here we go, 130 meters. Remember that number. And there will be some changes on this leg. There's some weather changing going on. So right now, 346 is the wind direction, 14.5 knots.
We're happy here at the moment.
Tactician Brad Butterworth saying we're happy here at the moment. Super job by Butterworth in the final 2-3 minutes of the countdown to the start of race 3. Getting his head out of the boat, reassuring his skipper Russell Coates that they were happy to go to the right after Team New Zealand had claimed what appeared to be the favourite left-hand end. In the end, it was Alinghi that got the first shift. Bang! They lead by 28 seconds or 130 metres at the end of the first meet.
I think the left tape might be hurt. Do you want me to go up, Pete? Still nice pressure, this is our best pressure for the next couple. Do the spank forward, Phil. Yep. Coming to him with pressure here. Still like it's sort of just on our hip here. A little. Look towards the right-hand end of the period. There's another little one, sort of 2 back. Guy with a main flap on board tack.
To go up with the pole, the base of the mast there. Make sure it's not.
This is nice pressure just on our hip. Come again here. I think that pressure to leeward of back.
Oh, well, if he jibed now, we'd let him go.
Really good pressure.
Going nicely at the moment. A little lower, a little faster.
Very nice pressure.
Very nice. What are the times, Anesta?
Brad Butterworth just informing his crew, informing Russell Coates that if Team New Zealand jibes now, they'd let them go. They're happy with the situation, they're happy with the position they're in, they're happy with the wind that they're getting. In fact, Alinghi are happy all round at the moment.
All the talk coming off Alinghi's positive. Butterworth just determining the relative performance between the boats. And 120 metres, very even. There hasn't been a big change.
Little gain to us, I'd say.
Really nice pressure.
We can hear there Brad Butterworth encouraging, always on the positive in terms of the performance between the boats. Now, Team New Zealand in the trailing position are setting themselves up at the moment for when they jibe. They're on the leeward side of Alinghi, so that if we get into the situation, and we can see it there graphically, to the right-hand side of Alinghi, Team New Zealand with the SAP Spinnaker, setting themselves up for the jibe, and then the relative positioning between of the boats should mean that Team New Zealand are looking to put a wind shadow down onto Alinghi on the opposite jibe.
Brad Butterworth having a bit to say about the television helicopter over the head. He believes that it's affecting their airflow on Alinghi. But at this stage, they're able to hold their lead 4.5 boat lengths ahead of Team New Zealand. Team New Zealand may have picked up close to a length down this run so far. It's a little bit of a drag race down here. It's not too shifty. It's the long port jibe. So it's a wee bit of a one-sided track.
Is it just the right of...
It's on the edge of Rangitoto, the right-hand edge of Rangitoto.
Yeah.
Brad identifying mark number 2 so that all of the crew understand where it is. So Ernesto
Let's
Bertorelli
have a go, eh?
saying 3 minutes on this jibe, 9 on the starboard. Brad Butterworth calling for a jibe.
A lot of talk on board about identifying the bottom mark, positioning of, and then talking to the navigator, Ernesto Bertorelli, about the relative times to each of the ley
It's a
lines.
little quicker than him at the moment.
Butterworth still thinking that
He's just digging it
Alinghi
deep.
are quicker.
He's digging it a little bit deeper than us.
Team New Zealand getting down on that leeward quarter.
Yeah, he's slow.
The next piece of action here will be post the jibe. Now here we go. Alinghi jibing. And then we'll look for Team New Zealand jibing now in the new windward position, trying to place themselves to put the turbulent wind down onto the leading boat. Jibe on board Alinghi just a little bit better than Team New Zealand. Team New Zealand now are a bit powered up, trying to get their angle aligned for the turbulent wind.
Now, if the roles were reversed as they were on Sunday, we're starting to get a little bit edgy, wouldn't we? What from here is a tactic for Team New Zealand?
Team New Zealand, John, now you don't want to take a big chunk. It's about just gnawing away at the leading boat. Copy what Brad Butterworth and Russell Coutts did on Sunday, and just chip away, 5 seconds here, 5 seconds there, to get back into a position, maybe 3 or 4 boat lengths advanced to where they are now, to put the pressure on the leading team. But of course, Alinghi are race hardened. They will know the tactic of Team New Zealand to try and just inhibit their advance forward.
Well, let's see if there has been any advancement.
Team New Zealand has closed the game up to 90 metres, but we look there at the wind shadow that Team New Zealand is casting off. It's just forward of their beam. So Alinghi with clear air in front of Team New Zealand. But it would seem that Team New Zealand has just closed the game up a wee bit. It's getting quite squally out there. We're seeing little rain showers. And with that rain, you often get a little bit of extra wind on the front of the rain. So as they head down leg number 2 towards the bottom mark for the first time, can Team New Zealand close the game up and make a race of this?
What are the times then?
Yeah. Well, it's quite close to us, isn't it? Relative to all this boat, so I think that's it. Coming down to the tip of Rangitoto, right?
What's the bearing to it, mate?
It's right in front of the big map. Right in front. You're ready.
Leg number 2 of race 3 of the America's Cup, and Alinghi retain that advantage. They picked up an early advantage off the line, and at the first mark were leading by 28 seconds. Now, Team New Zealand downwind have gained a little bit against Alinghi. And Ed, I just wonder what sort of wind speed are you getting out there on the course?
Well, we're seeing the wind go down a little bit now, John. The direction's been pretty steady for the last 8 or 10 minutes. 345 we have right now, which is about what the course is set for at the moment. But we're down into the 12-knot range. We were up close to 15. We're now starting to see the poles come forward, and the boats have to reach a little higher to get their speeds up.
See the helicopter? Just to
And
the
that
right
might
of the
affect it.
helicopter.
Brad Butter was talking about something with a helicopter. And what
Well, he's trying to point out where the lured mark is so that everybody understands on board. And here goes Team New Zealand throwing a jibe in. Alinghi has decided not to match immediately.
Yeah, anytime you like, Russell.
anytime you like Russell. So Alinghi will jibe soon. Team New Zealand out to the right with the SAP Spinnaker. Meanwhile, it's Alinghi now going through the jibe. So Team New Zealand will try and get on the top of Alinghi now. This is why they have been soaking down. So for this angle of attack, they're going to try and get on the air. We'll get Ed to explain that and try and cut through the yachting jargon. Ed.
Well, the breeze that the boats throw off, you know, it spins around a little bit and it slows down a little bit and it affects the boat ahead if you can get far enough forward to be where they're receiving their wind from. So it's a little bit like clogging the fuel line of a car. You just try to tear down a little bit of the power that they have. But right here, Team New Zealand a little bit too far back. Alinghi had the choice of where to jibe. They position themselves in this way so that the next time they jibe, Alinghi will definitely have clear air on the lead out.
It's only about 1.5 on the other jibe or 2.
So at this stage, they're talking how long they can hold on this heading to about 108, 109 metres. So Alinghi have done well to stall the gains of Team New Zealand, holding it at around 4 boat lengths or just over 100 metres. Now we've got 13.9 knots. Looking at the Gennikers today, you feel that the Team New Zealand Genniker is setting better and is more stable with that, because Team New Zealand have more sail area.
Well, Team New Zealand does have more sail area. It's looking fine at the moment. This is certainly a maximum sail area type of a situation. As it gets real light, sometimes you go to a little bit smaller sail, so that extra ability to carry more sail area might not be helpful. But in this 12, 13 knots that we have here, they'll have everything up they can. And it seems to me they've been pushing a little bit forward. The breeze has steadied way down from what it did on that first beat. You hear the chat about what's going on up the race course, but we are seeing wind direction swings back and forth now of about 5 to 7 degrees again over time, as opposed to that 20-degree right-hand shift that we saw just after the start. That was huge, and it was the only time all day that since we've been out here that we noticed anything like that happen.
Peter Evans to the right, Hamish Pepper just to his left, talking to Dean Barker. Hamish Pepper working as tactician, Peter Evans working as strategist. Behind them is Mike Drummond, the navigator. This is Brad Butterworth, Murray Jones to his left. Murray Jones with the role of strategist, Brad Butterworth as tactician. Super job by Butterworth to pick it. Talking about getting your head out of the boat.
How far in that? No. I'll get it, don't worry.
Peter, now he's trying to help Russell understand where the lured mark is. And you may think, well, geez, isn't that easy? Everybody knows where the lured mark is. It's the big orange mark or the big green mark in this situation. But there's so many spectator craft out here that you lose your perspective. Sometimes you gotta be reassured where it is. Look at all those boats, even on a Monday, excuse me, Tuesday now. But a lot of folks out here having a look. Wonderful.
Team New Zealand still not able to make much of a gain. They went from 130 to 100, but they haven't been able to get inside that 4 boat lengths.
That's okay, though, PJ. When you're in that situation, you take any gain you can. You do it slowly. You be patient. And you see here, there's the course view of where they're getting to. So they're going to be 4 lengths, 5 lengths behind at the lured mark, which is not where they want to be exactly. Obviously, they'd rather be in front, but it beats the heck out of being 150 meters back. And it means that they can pick their way up this next beat, stay close, maybe take a length out of Alinghi, and then get back in the game on the next run.
What chance of some low-speed tacks?
Well, we
fascinating. We
saw that
yesterday.
yesterday
On Sunday, so keep your antenna up for that. Meanwhile, we've still got to finish this leg number 2 here under Spinnaker, the asymmetrical Spinnaker, or Genniker if you like.
Minute and a half, it'll pick us up.
And the wind speed changing again. That changes where the ley lines are. We're up to 14 knots again. And that means the ley line's going to come up a little sooner than it was in 13 knots of breeze. Boats can sail farther downwind when the wind is stronger.
So inside 2 minutes now to the mark. Team New Zealand with the blue SAP Spinnaker. Alinghi jibing the plain white Spinnaker.
Team New Zealand following, which is that's the smart call. That's the right move. You stay right with them. You don't jibe first because you don't want to get stuck inside the lay line. When there's only a minute and a half to go to the mark, there it is. But you jibe in a position where you know you're going to have a nice, powerful rounding as the trailing boat and get yourself set up to start tacking.
Now, the housekeeping on board these boats could account for half a boat length, at least.
340.
So watch for the drops, quick hoist, and so it'll be interesting to see whether or not Team New Zealand try and get into attacking duel. Low speed, as we saw. Team New Zealand had gained 1.5 boat lengths on this downhill slide.
Quite light.
You don't want to get shot.
That
You don't want to get shot.
something, but just need to be advanced another couple of boat lengths to be close enough to do serious damage and distill the airflow coming down onto Alinghi.
Camp, have a good look.
Best puffs up through here. Okay, his jib is up.
So that's Nick Heron working at the mast. In front of him, Matt Mitchell on the bow, and Jeremy Loma's bow for Team New Zealand. Someone talking about attacking duel.
Ready for a jib? Here we go. Let's go on the jib.
Now, what I see, Peter, is that about 30 to 50 seconds after they round the mark, they're going to be into a little pop. So whoever, if there is a little bit of a flurry of activity as they round, somebody may break off and try to get themselves positioned in that pop. And if they can, that's going to be a benefit. The problem is, though, there's a number of boats, as you see there on the screen, following behind both of these boats downwind. So as they start to go upwind, they're going to immediately go into the wakes of those boats that are chasing along behind them on the run. So you got to be careful to pick your time.
The Amiga clock ticking against Team New Zealand. As they round mark 2. Here comes the drop. Lovely drop on Alinghi. Good, straightforward. Hardened on the wind into the second beat. Team New Zealand trailed by 28 seconds. They've got it down to 20. So Alinghi leading by 20 seconds, a gain of 8 seconds on leg 2. Now into leg 3, the second beat. The wind at 12.5 knots coming from 345 degrees.
And here goes Team New Zealand into attack. First one. No wakes to deal with yet. They've got enough room on that tack to go along and get built up to good speeds and tack back again before they start to hit the waves of the trailing group of boats.
Now here goes Alinghi. They've tacked across. Now, I didn't get the voice that said, we'll get into attacking duel. I'm not sure whether that was Alinghi anticipating it or a voice aboard Team New Zealand flagging it. It was Barry Mackay on Team New Zealand, I'm told. We've got a line overboard. We'll need to pull that out. There they go. Here comes Team New Zealand coming back.
And that would have been Barry just getting everybody aware in the middle of the boat that this was going to start happening. You know, everybody knows that's likely, but Barry says, look, guys, remember, here's what's going to happen.
Here comes Alinghi tacking back now. So here goes Team New Zealand coming back. They were not up to speed. We're getting into one of these low-speed tacking duels. So Team New Zealand now, breaking right, have gone back onto port. How much longer Alinghi before they come back? Or will Alinghi continue to advance each time? Alinghi haven't been sucked in for a blow-for-blow tacking duel. They're preferring to hold on. Could that be one, to either get up speed, or two, try and hook into the breeze you were talking about?
Well, both. I think they're both into that breeze, and they're starting to see what it's going to do for them. It's actually pretty steady direction. It's not a big shift one way or the other. But interesting that Team New Zealand is actually...
Right.
Well, they've got the right, but they're sailing a little bit into more wake from these other boats that were out here. And Alinghi may just be saying, hey, we'll hang on for a minute and see what we get. There is risk involved here, and as you see, Team New Zealand has made a gain since they rounded the mark by, you know, just a few meters.
Let's go here.
Just go here.
Brad Butterworth saying, here goes Alinghi coming back. Now, I wouldn't mind betting as soon as they tack, Team New Zealand will come back. Here they are. Team New Zealand are coming back. So Team New Zealand is out of sync for a start. So they've broken the cover.
Well, interesting, Peter, that we're just starting to see the breeze slightly tick to the right.
Okay, trimming it up.
If Alinghi are worried about that, they can sail right over the face of Team New Zealand to get out to the right, though.
Well, that's the key. The lead boat has a lot of options here. They can either push around the trailing boat or they can split and sail to the next ship. The lead boat gets that option. The trailing boat has to take what's left. Wind direction now 348. We've got about 11 knots. A little bit less than we had down the run, but still a nice pressure.
So Alinghi are going across the face of Team New Zealand to get out to the right and protect it.
There's a little puff here and then there's another line up there.
So since the bottom mark, Alinghi have made the gain by half a boat length.
Times are.
Well, but remember, Alinghi has tacked one less time.
Yeah.
So that's the half length.
Let's take this. Let's go.
So they won't be feeling like they're gaining. They'll feel like they just are not able to shake the trailing boat yet. Here goes Alinghi tacking to stay in touch. New Zealand likely will not stay in that position because it sets them up for a bad spot later on. And here they go. Team New Zealand tacking over.
Team New Zealand tacking now. Boy, they're getting the sails in very quickly. There's 8 on the pumps.
It's average pressure.
It's not just the grinders of John Macbeth, Rob McDowell, Barry Mackay, Chris Ward.
Straight ahead. Yeah.
11 knots.
Yep.
At 345.
Lefty, big lefty.
It's a nicely in phase there.
So Brad Butterworth saying nicely in phase, and he's talking about in phase with the breeze.
That's right. He's talking about in phase with the breeze. Now they're in phase with Team New Zealand, meeting on the same tack. Both boats getting a left-hand shift at the moment, just a little bit with pressure. So you'll see Team New Zealand probably hang through that for a little way, because if they tack back, they would be consolidating a small loss that they've just made. Let them run for a minute, see if the shift goes back to the right.
Yeah.
And if it does, then Team New Zealand will push it back into the middle of the course again.
Little lift here for us.
Little lift for us. Whenever you hear Brad Butterworth's voice, everything is relative to their rival Team New Zealand. That's the information that he keeps giving Russell Coutts.
Little header here on us.
Now we do have pressure filling in from up the course. It looks like to me like another knot or knot and a half of breeze is going to come in.
Chris Ward out to the left, Tony Ray, 67 degrees, meters.
Well, that's a nice gain by Team New Zealand, but they're in a position that if they tack, Alinghi would be able to tack right in their water and slow them down.
It's not just in the middle left.
Best pressure of the beat right here, Peter. This is the boats are just sailing into this puff line. It's probably 13 and a half knots where they're sailing.
Creeping that way a little bit, in this pressure.
Direction pretty steady though, 343.
We're worried about it going to 320.
Team New Zealand might just wait for the breeze to start to die, and since it'll start to die on Alinghi first, that might be the time that Team New Zealand chooses to tack, so they get more speed out of the tack.
Team New Zealand just trying to keep the game close, and they've done that. They've engaged. For a while there, they got out of phase. Now they've created an opportunity to be in clear wind. You can see there the jobbly sea state, the tide. We've got the tide running out of the Hauraki Gulf, so we've got wind against tide, just creating that extra little bit of jobble on top.
Should be green.
We hear Coutts and Butterworth talking about the relative performance of the two boats. Looks very even.
Is it orange? Okay, orange, sorry.
Bit of rain coming in. Now, if we do get a build-up of black cloud over the East Coast Bays, that could in fact alter the wind direction, and of course the afterguards will be looking up the course, trying to determine if there's any direction change in the long plan.
A lot of discussion here on board Team New Zealand talking about when they're going to come back. I would expect to see them tack back fairly soon. In fact, here they go. Team New Zealand coming back. Alinghi immediately tacking on top of them. Team New Zealand will try and build speed here. They'll immediately tack back onto port. Clear the rear once more. Here we go. Team New Zealand hanging tough at the moment. They must believe they've just got clear air. In fact, looking at that shot, they probably have got clear air just to windward of Alinghi. Alinghi electing to tack under them. This is a net gain to Team New Zealand. Deciding they are being affected. Tacking back onto starboard. Adam Bichel saying that he doesn't mind being bounced right. It certainly paid dividends for Alinghi, that right-hand side up the first beat. Alinghi tacking back. They're not going to give Team New Zealand any leverage on that right-hand side of the course.
With the tide running out, the actual channel that runs out of the Hauraki Gulf is out on the right. May well be a bit of extra push from the current out that side. Team New Zealand coming back on starboard tack.
That's good on the runner. Just have a look through the middle here, Pete.
Very much heads up, looking up, middle right. That's where they like the next piece of pressure, the next increase of wind speed. Alinghi tacking right in that windward position at advance to throw back the turbulent wind. Well, I'd expect to see Team New Zealand tack away. Here we go again. So we're into the classical tacking duel. And it's so important that in the tacking duel that the helmsman can build the speed, trying to make a gain. So midway up, the second windward beat, Team New Zealand attacking Alinghi.
Middle going. Yeah, let's go. Straight through the path.
Which side do you think, Cap?
Oh, I'm
Looks
actually
a little light below our bow, eh?
Yeah, but up towards Turi's all right. Which is long? There's quite a bit of shadow from this cloud too. It's touch softer out of this tack. Mark just past. God. It's not a big deal. Crossing his line now. Build speed here. It's not a big deal.
Just want to hit this pressure. Looks like it's starting to look good there. What about here, though, Cap?
Yeah, there's short term is one towards Wangapara. Very left hand here. He's crossing our line now. Actually, I quite like this.
It's gone behind us there, man.
Hold the runner. Yeah.
Here we go. Let's go. Tacking.
We're going to be in some pressure.
340.
Alinghi on starboard tack in the windward position. Team New Zealand the leeward position. Now what's evident is that Alinghi, although they are playing the match racing game, they are not being tricked into missing a wind shift. If they feel as though they are on that port tack and are making a gain, if they're in lifted wind, they're patient, they will take that advantage to take the gain, and have crossed over, allowing Team New Zealand to just live in the leeward position. But if there's a gain to be had on a wind shift, Coots and Butterworth will take it. They mix up that nice blend of the classical match racing moves on the upwind leg, but taking advantage of the wind shifts and the oscillating wind that we've got here this afternoon. There are certainly some small gains to be had by just blending match racing tactics and the advantage of the wind shifts.
Alinghi just doing it so well. How often?
Nice lift here, looks. Yeah, might lift us even more.
There we go. Brad Butterworth liking where they are. How often do we see Alinghi just sound a little bit loose? They're always talking about the pressure, always hanging on, waiting for the puff before they tack, making sure they stay in the most pressure. But Team New Zealand coming back again. And Alinghi and Team New Zealand very even to what they were at the bottom mark. At stages, Team New Zealand's closed. But at the moment, it's still Alinghi with a 100-metre or 4-length advantage. And they are just sailing a nice race, staying in the pressure, keeping a loose cover on Team New Zealand and always trying to stay on the favoured side.
We want to get them out there, though, don't we?
We want to get them out there, mate. What are the times down here, sir?
That's interesting. Now they're talking about getting Team New Zealand out to a ley line. So now that they're thinking of their mark rounding plan, they're keen to get the trailing boat to a ley line. They want to get them out there, as they were saying. The ability to change your tactical options as you go along the leg is the key. So that's why Team New Zealand are being allowed to live in that leeward position. They want to force the action out to the starboard ley line.
Murray Jones and Brad Butterworth just constantly have their eyes ahead looking at the breeze. How often do you hear them talking about the other boat relative to the breeze? I'd suggest not that often. They are so focused on sailing for the best pressure, the best wind shift, and incidentally keeping an eye on the boat behind relative to them. It's just impressive to watch the way they look at the breeze, constantly looking to see where they're going to get the best pressure. But Team New Zealand tacking to windward. To my mind, Pete, Team New Zealand looks like they might have picked up a little bit of right-hand pressure up on their hip.
Looks a little bow up there in the windward position, Team New Zealand. Alinghi have allowed them to have a wee bit of leverage. But that was a conscious decision that was made to try and get the action to the nearer ley line, which is the starboard ley line. I'd expect to see Alinghi come across and force Team New Zealand further to the right.
Pressure's still here, Pete, you agree?
We're hearing from out on the water there again. There's been this trend as they've approached midway, 2/3 of the way up the second windward beat. The wind to want to try and go to the right.
Don't break. Come on.
Team New Zealand getting a bit of right there. Brad Butterworth for the first time all day, sounding just a little bit anxious there. So
interesting
I'd love
call.
to see Alinghi come back fairly soon.
Yeah, it's 3:47 here.
That's just him.
Big gains to Team New Zealand on the right. They're getting that right-hand pressure. Jones and Butterworth finally calling it. They've decided they have to bite the bullet and come back. This will be a gain to Team New Zealand. So Adam Bieshel, I suspect, calling that right-hand pressure. Topmast backstay being refitted by Jochen Schumann onto the runner. And coming up for the cross. Team New Zealand has very definitely gained, and Ed Baird, a nice move by Team New Zealand to hang tough. They've picked up a bit of righty out there.
Well, again, a difficult position for the leading boat with Alinghi in a similar situation that Team New Zealand was 2 days ago. You know, just trying to protect a 4-boat length lead is hard in this lighter sort of shifty stuff. We're down to 9.8 knots now, and Alinghi thought they had let Team New Zealand go to the short side of the course and didn't have a lot of risk, but Team New Zealand, nice job getting a little bit of a pressure line over there and a little bit of a shift back in the game. Although they are fairly close to that starboard side, right-hand side lay line. So they don't have a lot of room left to play with.
But the breeze went up from 333 round to about 345. Here's Team New Zealand tacking now back. In fact, they're not up to speed.
No, they won't be up to speed
Down
there.
to 40 meters, though, inside 50 meters, which is encouraging. Now, if Team New Zealand can hold it around 50, it is getting bigger. But Alinghi are going through the tack now.
Well,
but if they can keep it under 60 or certainly 50, then it will give them a chance to attack downhill.
It sure will, and we're seeing now the positioning between these two boats is something they've done over and over again in their training and testing against each other in the last America's Cup. So Dean Barker picked that position, that downspeed tack position, very carefully. Alinghi now has had to go in slightly downspeed mode to tack and cover right there. Dean will have gotten up to full speed before he tacked, and maybe a little extra, a little beyond full speed by sailing slightly deeper than normal. And he'll be quickly up to speed now, and he'll be tacking right back.
Do two more. Right?
The tacking thin.
Here comes Russell to do two more, he says.
Certainly it's been an encouraging game from Team New Zealand.
Average press, not mass back.
The key issue here is try and be patient, keep it tight, and put themselves in a position to attack downhill.
Let's get into these guys.
Dan and Bichel, let's get into these guys. They're inside 50 meters now. That's certainly getting encouraging. But they are getting out to the starboard lay line that Ed Beard has been telling us. So Coots tacks right to front, but below 50, although that will extend as they go through the tack.
Well, and the key here is with Team New Zealand having to tack an extra time. And Alinghi, each time they're doing this on the starboard tack, they have to decide, are we going to go to lay line and tack once, or are we going to tack twice and go out and get Team New Zealand, make them tack another 2 times?
Here's Team New Zealand tacking now, and they weren't up to speed then, Ed.
No, definitely not. But they knew that Alinghi was going to tack on them in the previous situation. So, again, they never pulled all the way up onto the wind before they tacked off a starboard the last time, which meant that because they were full speed, not quite all the way on the wind, you know, and maybe a little more than normal target speeds, when they tacked, they didn't lose as much speed, so they got up to the new target quicker, tack right back, and they can be in a nice spot.
So it's 50-odd meters. That's the big problem for Team New Zealand. They really can't afford. They were down to closer to 40, but now it's nearly 60 meters. The key issue is to try and keep it within 50 to 60 meters to get around the mark, because that's just a couple of boat lengths in a bit, and that really is close enough to try and get on the air, which they really couldn't do successfully on the first.
No, but they've been picking away and doing a great job of just keeping it close and maintaining the opportunity to pounce when Alinghi might make a mistake.
Going nicely.
Reassuring stuff from Brad Butterworth to the skipper.
Still to field here in 5.
This is Adam Beachel's voice on Team New Zealand. Well, we've got a race here, as we had on race 2. Team New Zealand's got the ingredients, they've just got to get the break.
Well, they're definitely close now. They'll come around this mark. Again, they'll be in a similar situation going out of it, where they're both going to be tacking and setting and holding for a little bit. So we should come around this mark at about 60 or 70 meters apart, because downwind is a little bit easier to go fast, and the leader stretches out a little.
What have we got? 12.6 knots.
Yeah.
Nothing like the 22 knots.
No, it's not that much, but it's still a comfortable breeze, but it's a warm breeze, which means it's a little softer than the actual numbers tell us.
Team New Zealand out to the left.
Going to get a little more pressure back here in 10.
It's Adam Beachel, brilliant skiff sailor. He's used to having his heads up out of the boat, and the art of harnessing the invisible airflow.
Just about to the mark now, Peter, and we'll see both teams doing very similar sets. One slight difference will be that Team New Zealand is going to come in a little bit faster off of that lay line. And I'm talking about 1 or 2 tenths. So they might come out of this mark running with a little bit of speed advantage.
But both of them are coming tight because they are coming in from starboard rather than coming in from port. This is Mark 3, halfway through this race 3 of America's Cup 2003. Now remember, Alinghi led by 20 seconds at Mark 2. Here at Mark 3, the Amiga clock ticks off at 17 seconds, so a gain of 3 seconds to Team New Zealand. Alinghi leading by 17 seconds, and it's Team New Zealand that hoists the SAP spinnaker. That's the asymmetrical spinnaker, or Jenica. So Alinghi still with a handy lead of 17 seconds, and just far enough in advance to stay out of trouble from Team New Zealand, who need to gain another boat length before they start intruding in onto the airflow of Alinghi as they race now into leg number 4.
Good on, guy. Where do you want him?
A little lower than him, same speed, nice mode.
Yeah. Go 1 foot. Yeah, I agree. 1. Fast, take up.
Just thinking about slow, so probably not.
Put a job,
Hey?
no, eh?
Come on. Same here. Right now, still slightly bit of right pressure just above us.
9 and 9. 9 and 9. A little bit of pressure there now.
T jibe, Kev, just have a look after, mate. What do you think?
Yeah, good pressure
Eh?
behind us. Not above, behind.
Still looks light.
Sky's clearing pretty quickly, sort of up here. Nah. Yeah.
Go one more, Mike.
Steady, extra pressure. To here, come back in a minute. Squaring.
Well, if ever lessons were to be learned from Sunday's race, it's that no matter what your position,
Nice pressure here, just
you
the
should
same,
never
same
ever
headings.
consider that you're beaten. And we saw that with Alinghi on Sunday. I think we saw that with the New Zealand cricketers the same
A
day.
little lower, same speed we
And
are.
probably we even saw it looking at the result of Italy
Nice,
against
nice little
Wales in
game.
Six Nations rugby. You never should consider that you're beaten. This race is only at the halfway stage, and it's 17
I reckon we
seconds.
get under
Peter
6 and we
Lester,
should
Team
time
New
at the same
Zealand is
time as him.
getting close to that stage where they can attack.
They're working themselves into a position to give themselves an opportunity, and that will be putting pressure on the Alinghi team. Now, we know that the Alinghi team will,
Right now, it's just above us.
they respond well to pressure, but Team New Zealand and Barker and Hamish Pepper, they are just edging in and taking these small incremental gains. And right now, 17 seconds behind at mark number 3. If they can get the delta down to the next mark to maybe around 10 seconds, that would equate to 2 lengths behind. The next one would be, with the wind oscillating around, and especially the favoured right-hand side seems to be favouring midway up the beat, it only takes one of those small right-hand shifts and you've got an opportunity. So they have to be patient, they have to be not too greedy, and just keep gnawing away at that 17 seconds delta.
Well, again, there's a big crowd in front of the massive screen here at the American Express Viaduct Harbour. The crowd has been a little bit muted today, not too much noise, and probably if they gave Team New Zealand a big roar, they'd hear it from where Team New Zealand are out in the Hauraki Gulf.
Team New Zealand holding very even with Alinghi down this run.
Does that get closed, Glenn? I'm sorry.
No, it's very, very even. It's about 75 metres, okay, which is what we had at the top mark. And the breeze from around 11 knots from 345, so it's settled in around to the right a bit. And interesting to see that the cloud's broken up a little bit. We're seeing a bit more sun out on the Gulf. And that may be just helping the breeze to stabilise a bit now. But with the wind from this direction, this is the long jibe. They'll spend a lot more time on port jibe going down here, which makes it something of a drag race. And it would seem that all of the talk before the regatta about the hula's ability to speed up Team New Zealand downwind may not sadly be bearing fruit. Alinghi certainly an even match with NZL 82 downwind in these conditions.
I agree with that, Glenn. And all through the Louis Vuitton, and we're seeing it again now with Alinghi, their sail program, especially their Jenica, their downwind sail program, they do seem to have the ability to just maximise the ability for their boat to go downwind. The Alinghi Jenica just looks a little bit flatter in the head than the Team New Zealand Spinnaker. A lot of work has been done through the Challenger Series on optimising the downwind sails.
I wonder, Peter, every time on Sunday when we took a commercial break, something happened. Maybe we should start throwing in a few commercial breaks now to get Team New Zealand underway.
I don't know about that, John. Now, on the foredeck there, we've got the backup sail for Team New Zealand. The procedure is, if whatever you're flying, you have it's another A2, so they're using asymmetrical 2 spinnakers. If the sail got into trouble, maybe if it got torn in a jibe, that would be the backup sail. So it's good to see, like we've experienced through the Louis Vuitton, that the foredeck of Team New Zealand have got their heads up, they're thinking ahead. Team New Zealand just setting themselves again in that leeward position for the jibe, and post-jibe, the wind shadowing effect down onto the leading boat.
Yeah.
Team New Zealand closing the game up there, the advantage to 70 metres.
Just same here at the moment.
So, while it's only 5 metres, it has gone in Team New Zealand's favour as the bowman on board Alinghi pulls himself out to the end of the spinnaker pole to get the new spinnaker sheet cleared from around the tack of the sail. And these guys are just so strong and athletic. That is a whole lot harder than it looks.
Just a smidgen. Just going nicely, a little bit lower, same speed.
When did you last do it, Brad?
Likes the way they're going.
Am I going on the other side, Dominic?
These boats just so evenly matched downwind.
What are the times now?
Very even, but the New Zealand boat at Mark 1 was 28 seconds behind. So it's down to 17. That equates to about 2 boat lengths.
Nice.
You just tell me which one.
We could drive the
Close,
same time as him
the relative performance between the boats, very even.
Brad Butterworth
Quite nice pressure.
just talking to his trimmers.
Still going nicely.
They managed to just squirt down to leeward a little bit on a wave and a little bit of puff. And he said to Russell, we can jibe at the same time now if they jibe.
A nice little gain there.
So we can see there, that's what Brad's talking about.
We're still going nicely.
Got a little puff above
Notice
us
the
which
way
has come down onto us.
Alinghi has
What are the
managed
times
to
on
get
this
on the inside, which is critical for them to protect their clear air when they inevitably jibe. So Team New Zealand needs to try and get inside them.
I'll get the runner up, don't worry.
But at this stage, Alinghi doing it well down this leg. NZL 82 unable to make any real inroads.
Team New Zealand, Adam Beechell jumped down off the boom. He was just having a bit of a look for the fingers of wind that are coming down behind. Just wondered if they were setting up for a jibe initially, but a hold. Jochen Schumann there on the
Stand by, jibing.
jibe coming up. Jochen Schumann, 3 gold medals and a silver medal at the Olympics. What a resource to have in the back of the boat, both tactically and, of course, to do the mechanical jibe. And this is Team New Zealand jibed away. Alinghi have carried on.
Still good ship. Good ship.
That was fascinating. We heard Brad call the jibe.
This is the best time for
And I suspect Cooks overrode him because they kept going. We're seeing a split here.
Opportunity for Team New Zealand.
As soon as we've got clear breeze, you've got to go and sail the same wind.
Now, what happens when you're the trailing boat? If you're looking ahead and you're looking for the... As soon as there's crew movement, you go on to stand by yourself. So I think what happened there is Russell Coots was asked to go on standby by Brad Butterworth. He called it to hold it. Team New Zealand jibe. And now there's a little bit of leverage and a little bit of separation. With Team New Zealand in the windward position, Alinghi jibing. Now, can we here, if Team New Zealand in that windward position can get a little bit more pressure, 70 metres separation, that's the difference.
What's the bearing to the mark?
And the gauge between the boats is very relevant. If the gauge starts to reduce, that could mean that Team New Zealand had more pressure and they can just point their bow more towards Alinghi to make a gain.
We've seen a slight gain. We see New Zealand, it's down to 60 metres. And could we be seeing a wee bit of a repeat of what happened on the first run in the second race? It's down to 52 metres, 51, 50, 49, 48 in closing. Team New Zealand carrying a bit of pressure. It would seem that they've just got a little bit more air.
Than him. We're just sort of going forward even at this low angle.
There we go, it's stabilised there. Brad Butterworth now saying he's happy with the way they're going.
That's got the big screen audience going, Glenn, when they saw that counting down to 50 metres.
That's exactly what Team New Zealand needs to do, is just take every little opportunity to chip away. They don't have to try and do it all in one hit, because they won't. They just have to keep working away, chipping away. So it's just over 2 boat lengths, Alinghi in front of Team New Zealand. It's been a 1-length gain thus far to NZL 82 down the run. It's closing just a little more. Can they close it up to attack up this next beat to windward?
Spectator craft out there lined up around the next mark and down the outsides of the course. Massive fleet there. As we look at this match now, it's been pretty much Alinghi in control, Team New Zealand endeavouring to get close enough to attack. Now we've got the separation, which was about 300 metres, and now we see the gap has closed even more, so it's within that 50 metres, 350 metres almost the separation. And that sometimes can be quite crucial in a race, that big separation.
Yes, separation, leverage, whatever term you want to use. I think what happened there, that Brad and Russell just had a little bit of a slight difference of opinion, which meant that Team New Zealand had an opportunity to get a bit of separation. So going down to the bottom mark, Alinghi still leads Team New Zealand, but New Zealand closing.
It won't catch us up. Yeah, it's okay to take back, no less.
pressure.
So let Daggy know that I'd say no less than this for pressure up the next beat. There's nice pressure building back through axis now, Pete. Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't say that. No, I'd say very even from what I see. Okay. Next beat, still looking the best pressure up the middle.
There we go, let's go.
There we are. Take a break for a couple of minutes and it closes up. So Team New Zealand now within range. Second downward leg.
Do you need us in the main?
We're about 4.5 minutes, I suppose, away from the next mark. At the third mark, Alinghi led by 17. But the action is hotted up, PJ, on this downward leg.
Up to around 50 metres at the moment. Ed and I just trying to assess whether or not Team New Zealand's far enough to advance to be able to get on the air of Alinghi.
Well, they're certainly close enough, but Alinghi positioned themselves very intelligently, right, just straight downwind of Team New Zealand. And there you see, it's just straight down the course. So if Team New Zealand were to jibe right now, Alinghi would just hold and go to lay line or close to it. And if Alinghi were to, well, otherwise Alinghi won't jibe right now, but when they reach lay line and Alinghi goes to turn and jibe for the mark, they'll be able to come out with clear air on the new side as well. So Alinghi has definitely lost some distance. And they're saying 1 and in. That means they're going to go all the way to lay line here. They get the jib set up forward, which takes a little bit of time. Team New Zealand is heating it up a little bit to go for some speed, but
Watch him, Murray, watch him, please.
I'm watching him.
yeah, they get a little nervous on Alinghi about what Team New Zealand are doing. But nice position for Alinghi. Nice position for Alinghi for later, but great job by Team New Zealand down this run to close it up.
Well, Team New Zealand's done a very good job since the difficulties they encountered after the start, where it looked as though the left was favoured.
This is going to kill it, if anything. The left's going to be softer.
So that's Adam Beechel talking about.
It could go to a
Talking in the breeze there. They're actually talking about some of the sun breaking through now and the black clouds. So Team New Zealand need to be advanced another length really to get on the ear of Alinghi.
Yeah, the way they're set up, sorry, Peter, is I just think they're going to come into the mark about the same distance apart, but then it's going to get exciting.
So here they go through the jibe. This will be the final approach to the bottom mark.
We have seen a right-hand shift lately. It's 350 degrees. It's the farthest right that we've had it for about 20 minutes, and we're at 13.5 knots. So there's a nice breeze for this next beat to get things thrashing around after we round the mark. And again, Team New Zealand has done a great job of just steadily, once they were, remember up the first beat, they were 215 meters behind at one point, and they have slowly picked away at Alinghi, pushing their way back up into this game. And now we have quite a boat race on our hands.
Yes, Team New Zealand have been outstanding, well, right through the race, but certainly over the last two legs here, it's just been inch by inch, bit by bit.
And they're going to have a course change at this mark rounding. They're going over to a 355 wind direction. So the race committee must see that there's a little bit of a right shift coming down the track as well. Remember that at the start of the race, we had 333. So it's about 20 degrees in general to the right of what we started in.
Alinghi to the right, Team New Zealand. Forward to the left. This is now on board Team New Zealand.
Now this next beat is going to be critical, Peter. They're going to have to keep it at least this close, and if possible, take advantage of any opportunity to gain a little bit.
What would be interesting to see whether or not Brad Butterworth wants to engage tack for tack or extend as he did.
Well, early on, they'll have to engage tack for tack, and then if they start to lose, they may break away on Alinghi and look for better pressure.
We will be taking with him. We will be taking with him.
Take up on there. Yeah.
This is Mark 4. The drop on the link. Very soon the drop on Team New Zealand and the SAP Jenical will come down. Now reminding you, it was a 17-second margin to Alinghi at Mark 3 as the immediate clock is ticking.
Right, pole's coming.
And a gain of 2 seconds to Team New Zealand.
Butt down. Butt down.
That's a little bit unfair to call it only 2 seconds because they've actually closed the distance up. It's just lighter air by a little bit. Certainly the game is closer than it was. Here goes first tack by Team New Zealand.
Now, will Alinghi respond? 13 knots here. Alinghi has responded. How long will Team New Zealand hold before they bail out of that? Here they go. It is a loose. No, it's not. They haven't tacked yet.
Ready? Gonna be choppy water for a while.
Got to get their lines out to the side.
They're still cleaning up from the rounding. There's a lot to do on these boats to put everything away.
Here comes Team New Zealand tacking now. And Alinghi tack immediately.
An interesting positioning by Alinghi. They didn't go all the way across to hit Team New Zealand's air. They just went back into the exact same position as they rounded the little mark in.
Team New Zealand tack, they are. It's a low-speed tack.
Let's get up to speed.
Brad Butterworth straight with them.
Another 3 or 4 seconds and Alinghi will be up to full speed.
So Team New Zealand.
And here they come on Alinghi. Matching tacks again.
How long before Team New Zealand tack?
Now in the short term, it should have been a gain to Alinghi because they've gotten to full speed every time they've tacked.
Okay, that's it, Jockey.
Bad waves here. Keep it going. Keep it building.
Nice pressure.
Brad Butterworth reckons Brad waves. Keep it coming.
Here comes Team New Zealand turning again.
He's committed.
Trying to pick their time. The trailing boat gets to choose. And once again, Alinghi, who's already up to speed, tacks straight ahead of Team New Zealand. And that should be a short term, as I said, a short gain for Alinghi. Because they have made it each time, they've made it up to full speed. Here goes Team New Zealand tacking back early. They're going to have to make one of these stick with some wind shift, or they're going to continually lose a little bit by not getting up to full speed when they're tacking.
Come in with it. Choppy water still here.
Try and just give me 2 turns on the travel if possible.
Yeah, fine.
Try and treat loading me up, right?
Nice pressure here.
Just watch the breeze here, Cap. Watch the breeze here.
Yeah.
Team New Zealand continuing to probe and push at Alinghi, endeavouring to get some sort of advantage to close this gap. But the Alinghi team are doing it so well. They continue to lead. They've led from the start. At the first mark, 28. At the second, 20. 17 seconds at the third, 15 at the fourth. Team New Zealand have clawed back in this race, but it's still the Swiss combination out in front.
A facet of watching the Alinghi team is they make very, very few mistakes. Right through the Louis Vuitton Cup and the 2 races of the America's Cup, I think in total maybe they've made 3 or 4 mistakes that we could identify. they sail a classic race. And we're seeing this, it's like poetry in motion to watch the afterguard of Alinghi do their work. Jochen Schumann, looks like Jochen Schumann there might have just hurt his hand a little bit. He gave it a good shake. Or maybe it's just taking the top off that water bottle.
Just washing the spray off the glasses, I think.
Alinghi set up to leeward this time. The breeze has cranked round to the right a little bit. And at this stage, Team New Zealand gained maybe half a boat length by being on the inside of the right-hand shift. So the breeze has gone way right. It's now round to 002. So that's been a big right-hand shift. And looking at that, Team New Zealand may have just closed a little bit. Alinghi had been covering so closely.
Same we're just going forward just slightly, ever so slightly, same height.
Okay, top mast up.
So that's Brad talking about the relative performance between themselves and NZL 82, but 82's on the charge at the moment. It's down to 56 metres. Being on the inside of that curve is being an advantage to them. There we see it. The breeze around to the right-hand side. It swung right round
Nice pressure.
that side. So Team New Zealand has been able to live up on the hip of Alinghi. It's closed down. So Adam Bieshel, the afterguard on Team New Zealand, has done a good job of just setting themselves up on the favoured side. And almost a slightly uncharacteristic mistake from Alinghi this time, letting Team New Zealand live up on that favoured right-hand side.
I think it's a facet of watching Alinghi against Team New Zealand. Team New Zealand tend to, the moding of the boat or the configuration, how they like to sail it, a little bit more bow down and maybe slightly higher boat speeds. Alinghi like to sail just with their bow slightly closer to the wind and slightly slower, but the end result is very, very similar in terms of the VMG or their velocity made good as they go up the windward leg. But what's happened here is Coots is quite happy to sail in that leeward position in my mind and then just allow the boat to gauge up towards Team New Zealand, so he let them live there. But then in that situation, the wind actually went to the right. So that meant that Team New Zealand got a bit of a double whammy. They had the right, and a bit of shift means they could just get their bow up a few degrees, maybe for 2 or 3 minutes longer than Alinghi, to give themselves more gauge than what Coots would have liked. There's a great example of the hula there. Under the water, we can see that a line around the body of the boat with a bit more volume, or a bit more volume under the boat, and that is the innovation that is meant to give Team New Zealand extra waterline length.
Side of axis is still good pressure straight towards Turi.
Pressure coming in from the right. The feedback we're getting is the wind now from that right-hand side is up to 14 knots. Now looking at virtual spectators there, you can see that the gauge or the distance between the boats is in fact decreasing. But the speed of the boats, and that's that moding I was talking about, Coots likes to sail a little bit more bow up. Team New Zealand, a little bit bow down and a little bit more boat speed, but the end result is very similar. Again, looking at the hula, that's that line that we can see just cutting through the fern on Team New Zealand. That's the device that gives the boat a little bit more volume and maybe a bit more waterline length. One feature of looking at Dean Barker, Glenn, is that he stands very tall on the boat. He seems to be a big guy. He is quite tall, isn't he? He's up around, what is he, 6'1", 6'2", and he certainly projects very high in the boat. And the steering wheel looks to be quite low and a little bit uncomfortable for him.
Certainly very different from the way Coots stares. You can see his arms are extended straight, and he does look very tall alongside it. It would seem that perhaps Coots' steering wheel relatively is a little bit higher, which I have to say, if you look there, that's a good example of it there. Slightly more comfortable position steering the way Russell does, with the arms bent a little bit. But obviously Dean has designed the boat the way he wants it. He clearly likes it.
We're still faster than him. Slightly lower.
So really interesting here. Brad is just always so positive.
Handle any more up?
It's down to about 40 metres. And Russell looking over his shoulder a moment ago. He knows that Team New Zealand's made a wee bit of a gain up on his hip. And they're heading into the middle left-hand side of the course. And that breeze is really rotated around to the right. And there's another shot of the hula.
Whatever you can handle up is good.
This is Tony Ray,
mark here in 40 seconds.
main trimmer, talking about main trim. We hear from North Star the breeze has gone even further right to 007. Now that is very definitely a gain for Team New Zealand by being on the right. And in fact, how's that for confidence? For the first time in this race, we heard Team New Zealand saying, if they tack, do you think they could cross us? And I'd have to say, Alinghi, when they tack, if it stays the same as this, will only just cross.
What interests me out of that call about the weather is that 15 knots. If the breeze is picking up a bit, Peter, and it's been stated, hasn't it, that maybe 15 and up to 20 is Team New Zealand. That's where they want it.
Absolutely, John. This is a great shot now, and the wind is increasing and coming out of the right. That's the feedback we're getting. I'm just looking at the heel angle there between the two boats, and looks very similar. Very, very similar in terms of the stability of the boats, and the stability relates to horsepower, which can help speed. Butterworth, ever watchful, looking out.
Yes, you are. You're gaining here at the moment.
Talking about the relative speeds between the boats, calling that Alinghi are gaining. John, do you ever hear Butterworth being negative?
Never.
Even if they're losing, he's saying they're gaining.
He's the ideal captain out there, isn't he,
well,
really?
It makes such a, in terms of the psychology of the crew, if you're hearing positive feedback all the time, even if it's even, if he is saying you're gaining, I think it's a big morale booster for the team.
What I've liked too is that we've heard, whether it was from their boat or not, I can't recall, but a couple of times we've heard, sail your boat. You know, don't worry about the opposition. And he's talking about the rest of the crew. He's the man who keeps an eye on the opposition. And he just, his positive feedback, of course, makes the rest of the crew feel good. Well, he's the only one watching.
Alinghi going into attack, attacking simultaneously with Team New Zealand. They were starting to affect NZL 82 slightly. Both boats tacking onto port simultaneously. They've got quite a long way to go out to the right-hand side, but looking at the whitecaps on the water there, the breeze is definitely up around 16, 17 knots. The advantage line around 40 metres, 39 metres to Alinghi. Let's have a look at where they are on the course. And remember, at the bottom of the course there, the wind was coming from this direction. And as they got further up, it came a little bit more out of the right there, which was what enabled Team New Zealand to close it up a little bit. But now they've got quite a lot of sailing on port tack to do. It'll be something of a drag race at this stage. Alinghi comfortable up to windward of NZL 82. So for Dean Barker, he needs to try and squeeze a bit of speed out of the boat. And again, just absolute confidence from Alinghi.
Alinghi in that windward position. I would expect to see Alinghi here try and push forward. Again, change the moding of the boat, put their bow down a little bit, and just try and force the action down over the top of Team New Zealand. And they're in the ideal position to do that there. They bow forward on Team New Zealand, so they'll just roll the numbers up, maybe 2/10 or 4/10 of a knot.
Still good pressure.
To put Team New Zealand away in that leeward position.
16 knots out there on the course at the moment, we're hearing, Peter.
Well, what happened? Of course, the sky cleared, the black clouds that were inhibiting the build of the northerly wind had cleared up, and all of a sudden, whammo, the breeze has gone up from 11 and 12 knots to now 16, and it might even increase a bit more before the end of the race.
We saw a big sign on the waterfront here as Team New Zealand went out. There's Adam Bichel there, the Australian, who's we hear his voice a lot. He's a vital part of the afterguard. There was a big sign which said chins up, Team New Zealand. And Ed, you would suggest that they should have their chins up because this race is far from over.
Well, obviously they're running short on time in the big picture, but in the short term they've been a great gain here. They've pushed in nicely. They've done a really fine job on this beat, and now within a length or so of from bow to stern, they're really starting to feel like the breeze is powering up, and if the boat's going to work for them, now's the time. The drag race out to this side is not a lot of shift left in it, so they will just be racing along here, trying to use every bit of speed they can, see if there's a difference between the way the boats go through the water. And again, Team New Zealand trying to keep this close. If they can stay within 2 or 3 lengths around this mark, they'll have a chance to affect the wind downwind of Alinghi and maybe have a chance to pass. Here we see the bulb underneath the bottom of the boat there with the flames on it. They're starting to light up. And you can also see on the right of the screen, the hula, the water flow drains out of the front edge of it. When the boat goes down in the water, water comes into the area between the hull and the hula. And as you see right under the Toyota logo, you see the water draining back out. So it is a little bit of a disturbance down there. And the stronger the wind is, the less of a problem that is for horsepower of the boat. Right now we got 356, so a little bit of a left-hand shift, about 10 degrees from the max right that we had, and it's up at about 16 knots.
Mark, one finger to the right of the tall ship.
Dean Barker looking patient there. He needs to be. It's been a long, hard race for these guys.
Just a little bit too
Russell Coots is feeling the heat. He had 8 boat lengths of a lead at some point in the first beat. It's down to 1 or 2 now.
I reckon we'd take Simo with him.
Brad Butterworth tack Simo with the meaning to win 45 metres.
Check Simo, build, speed.
So they're talking about as soon as Team New Zealand tack, they'll tack with them. And actually Team New Zealand then will lose more distance as a result of that when they go into the mark.
Well, Team New Zealand's got 2 options. They can tack in this sort of range of the course and then tack right back when Alinghi hits them, or they can go off to the edge of the course and tack with Alinghi on the ley line.
So they'll lose speed in a low-speed tack, but they'll lose going in, sucking dirty air. I mean, the whole point here, Ed, is they've just got to try and keep as close as they can to attack downhill, because the wind now is 15 knots, and we'll get into the discussion of asymmetrical spinnaker against symmetrical spinnaker too.
Just on the edge here, Lloyd.
Here goes Team New Zealand tacking now. So according to Brad Butterworth, they tacked Simo, and they have. Right in their face.
He's the runner. He's the runner.
Come on, guys, get into it.
There we go.
Adam Bichel, come on, guys, get into it.
He's tacking. Yeah.
Yep. Team New Zealand tacking out of it now. And immediately a Alinghi tack as well.
Lead the traveller triumph, got it.
Well, it's a little different world to be attacking like this at this end of the race course, Peter. It's not like the bottom end where you have to fight. Up here, you got to be careful that you don't lose a length or 2 all of a sudden with this proximity to the weather mark.
Team New Zealand come back, and immediately Alinghi go with them. Whether or not Team New Zealand think they can make some inroads here.
What shoot are we going to use,
Team New
guys?
Zealand are out. Team New Zealand bail out, and Alinghi are discussing what shoot are they going to go to.
Well, Alinghi will get up to speed. They're almost there now. They've got the luxury of going all the way to target speed.
Traveller down.
Yep.
They'll tack back and go and put another one on Team New Zealand, but Team New Zealand is almost on the lay line.
It's a little bit...
So Alinghi has the luxury.
70 meters, that's what happened.
Yeah, and Alinghi has the luxury to wait and see what Team New Zealand does next.
We can go to lake, couldn't we?
So that was good defence by Alinghi that they forced into it by going solo. Team New Zealand wanted to bail out of that. But if they hadn't done that and gone right out to the starboard lay line, then Team New Zealand would have sucked dirty air all the way and they'd have still gone back to the 70-odd meters.
That's right. I mean, it's a win-win situation for Alinghi. They're in a strong position there, and now, though, there is a pretty big separation here. But Alinghi taking advantage of the fact they're going to go all the way to lay line, and they're only going to attack once, while Team New Zealand had to attack twice more.
And that lose half a boat length each time.
But of course, the risk here for Alinghi is if Team New Zealand gets a bit of a right-hand shift and Alinghi can't cross them, they could lose the position that way.
So Alinghi go and tack now. They're tacking right on the lay line here, on the port lay line coming up to the top mark. Easy lay. Yeah. So things looking pretty good for Alinghi here.
Well, and that's what we talk about when we teach young sailors about match racing. We talk about thinking 2 or 3 moves in front of yourself. And that's what Alinghi did here. They went ahead and realized that they lost a little bit early, but they kept their position. And then when they had the opportunity, they stretched it back out again.
Now here we are at nearly 16 knots. This is going to be fascinating to see with one or the other put up a symmetrical spinnaker. So here comes the cross, Alinghi easily over. The big issue is Team New Zealand here are going to attack. That'll lose another half boat length.
It's going to be jib down jibing, John.
Jib down jibing.
Yeah.
So here goes the tack from Team New Zealand now. As Alinghi come to the top mark for the last time. This is mark number 5. So as Team New Zealand go through the tack, Alinghi scuttle away and get more distance. Remember, Alinghi led by 15 seconds at mark number 4. This mark number 5 going into the last leg of the race. And the Amiga Club picks away.
That'll do. Thanks, Dave.
So again to Alinghi on that leg. As Team New Zealand round 21 seconds astern.
And Peter, that was all set up by that couple of moves there with about 500 meters to go to the mark. Maybe more like 800 meters, but the point is that Alinghi did a fine job there, just hanging on and maintaining position so that later on they could nail Team New Zealand when they had to tack.
Well, when it got down to 34, here's the jives. So Team New Zealand are right into it, trying to get on the air of Alinghi. Whether or not it's close enough, that's the interesting thing was there they were 34 meters, possibly Alinghi couldn't have crossed, and Team New Zealand asked the question, but that was, again, super planning, a lovely setup, and splendid defence by Alinghi to give themselves that fight of 2 or 3 boat lengths.
That's good there,
And
nice
Peter,
angle.
Team New Zealand has done a very, very difficult move. They've jived before they were able to get their Genoa down, looking for position, and now they're having trouble because the Genoa is still up in the air. They can't jive the pole through as easily as they normally would. So they have to rerun all the lines that hold the pole in the air to hook it all up. Now, this isn't a surprise. They knew they've done this, they've practiced this, but it does take time, and they're just now getting their pole up. Alinghi would have escaped a little bit by reaching up underneath. And now Team New Zealand gets the pole in position to stretch out the spinnaker and be more efficient. But now they have to pull the jib down and get back going again to a normal run. We are in a left-hand shift, 346 degrees. Remember, it's been 20 degrees farther right than that at one point.
And we're up to 17, 18 knots now.
So that's definitely why both boats want to be on this jibe. It's the long jibe down to the finish, and it meant everything for Team New Zealand to get onto this jibe to maybe have a chance to block the air of Alinghi.
That's good there, hold that.
You heard before Alinghi rounded, though, they said we're going to do a quick jibe as soon as the jib was on the deck. And they're still defending. Alinghi's still reaching up, trying to defend. So, close race.
he's still a little higher than us.
We're going into the jibe 4.7.
It's okay, though. It's okay. But I don't want him to go forward at all.
When's the one on the sheet? I'm just looking
Yes,
for yourself.
there's only way you can get past us around this. Lower, slower.
It's going to be all right, but there is... Oh, it's not going to come... What are you saying? 4 and 4, guys. Hey? The top is not going to come down in the jibes, is that what you're saying? No.
Go beach the rigs forward.
You guys make the call on what you want. Nice one to come here in 10. Good pressure building from here.
There you go, mate.
The jockey pole ready. He's going to reach hard. Oh, he didn't put it in. He didn't put it in. No, okay. Times are 9 this way, 2 the other. Wow. Now he's put his jockey pole in. He's going forward just slightly. No, but just stay in front of him, just a little, you know, at least.
Try to keep it low, we will.
He's just still creeping forward, Russell. More pressure coming on us now. Even at the moment.
So last chance Team New Zealand. They're on the run home in race 3 of the America's Cup 2003. Alinghi leading the last mark by 21 seconds.
He's going forward, reaching hard.
Yeah, Butterworth relaying to the crew the relative bow angles of the two boats. It's almost a role reversal from Sunday's race, race 2. But the difference is Brad is just keeping Russell Coots fully informed of the relative bow angle of Alinghi in the leeward position, so they don't get caught with Team New Zealand charging down over the top of them. Team New Zealand in the windward position, just trying to get some leverage, get some advance going.
Still,
the relative downwind speed of the boats looks very even.
He's going forward just slightly. And there's Puff still going forward. Puff's on us. Puff's on us now. Here it is.
Brad
Go into it.
talking all the time to Russell to ensure they've got good relative position.
A lot of change in the pressure.
To make sure that they keep their air from in front of NZL 82. Still longer time to spend on starboard. Dean Barker, all concentration as he tries to narrow it up a little bit. It's been a half-length gain to Alinghi since the top mark. He's out to 125 metres. The boat's smoking down this run with this extra pressure. Team New Zealand try as they might,
Still steady on
unable
pressure.
to make any inroads into Alinghi at this stage.
I think the initial loss that Team New Zealand have incurred since the mark was due to the difficult manoeuvre that Team New Zealand did, jibing with the Genoa still hoisted. The recoverable from the crew was good, and it was a tactical decision to take a small loss to put Team New Zealand in the windward position. That is their only chance to try and throw some tactical options down onto Alinghi.
What's the bearing to it?
He's got a puff.
Butterworth have seen this picture before, so experienced.
Come down onto us in about 10.
So coming into it quite quickly here.
Peter Evans on the left, Hamish Pepper just having a drink. Can they scramble the picture up on the final leg to the finish? They need to be creative. Alinghi look comfortable, leading by 21 seconds at mark number 5.
Giving it away, I think.
There we see it. 120 metres, 119 metres.
Nice.
Alinghi,
Just puff coming
the
down
yellow
to us.
trail, Team New Zealand, the blue trail,
He's
heading out
good.
towards that port-hand ley line. And these boats are just so evenly matched. There is just nothing in it.
Unless you've got good pressure above us. He's going forward, Russ.
Butterworth
Right on our ear if you go down, mate.
telling Russell Coots not to sail any lower, otherwise 82 will get on their end. Here comes Team New Zealand going through the jibe. Spinnaker pole being tripped through. Up it goes. The new brace clipped in. Mainsail goes flying across. The grinders leaning into it now to pull the brace back. That's the left-hand corner of the spinnaker. Alinghi immediately jibing to cover right in front of Team New Zealand. 5 lengths still the advantage.
He's right in front of him at the moment.
Alinghi sailing a textbook race.
Boat, just in there, just below the V there.
Defending the lead.
He's sailing a
Relative
just
performance
below
between the
our
two
number.
boats even. And right through the Louis Vuitton Cup, we often heard Coots comment that if the boats are even, he's happy. And this is why, because tactically they do not make mistakes. The teamwork from the crew and the afterguard, the decision making,
Still got a couple on the other jibe, eh?
impeccable. Dean Barker still trying, still pushing. Jibe coming. Pole comes through, Bauman clips in the brace, and then onto the primary winch, and the after guys ground back. We can see there the rope just slipping through the outboard end of the pole, into the end of the pole. That's the function of the horsepower that you need in the boat from the grinders. Nice jibe, Team New Zealand.
Enormous load on that brace when it comes out to the end of the pole, and the grinders have to pull it back. Close to 500 square metres of sail area in that spinnaker. An awful lot of horsepower. Team New Zealand closed the game up very slightly. 4.5 boat lengths. But Alinghi's still in control at this stage as Team New Zealand once more comes back through a jibe. Boom coming across. The grinders, arms flailing as they wind that spinnaker brace back out to the end of the pole. As Team New Zealand looks for a way past. But the racetrack's starting to run out quite quickly now. Alinghi sailing a very impressive race as they come through to jibe once more to get back in front of Team New Zealand to keep it close. And the thing that impresses me so much about Alinghi is just the way they are so comfortable keeping it close. They don't mind a really tight boat race. They back themselves and they just do not give their opposition any leverage at all.
Main on here.
Alinghi coming back again just to stay between the opposition and the finish. We'll probably see Team New Zealand, yes, Team New Zealand jibing in the windward position, but Alinghi are giving Team New Zealand nothing as they go down to the finish of the 3rd race of the America's Cup. Ed, what are the options for Team New Zealand between now and the finish?
Well, Peter, Alinghi has done just a fine job of pulling the action off to one side of the course, and now there's not a lot of time left on starboard jibe unless they sail very, very deep, which is what they're suddenly doing right now. Team New Zealand jibed on the air in a normal position for Alinghi's air, so Alinghi suddenly turns down and gets their wind clear behind Team New Zealand. You see there the relative angles of the boat. Normally, where Team New Zealand is, they should be affecting the wind flow of Alinghi, but all Alinghi did was just turn down lower and slow the boat down slightly, but because it's blowing 17 knots, they can sail just about straight downwind and not lose much speed from their normal targets, and they have about 4 lengths to spend, so Alinghi looks real strong. Team New Zealand's thrown everything they can at them, but it's not the kind of situation, it's not the kind of race course that's going to really give them much of an opportunity at this amount of range and at this amount of time left.
He's given it away. He's now back to normal
All right, so that's Brad talking about what Team New Zealand is doing, saying they're giving it away, which means they're saying, all right, I'm giving up on that strategy. Now Team New Zealand going up to a higher VMG mode, which is back to their normal downwind angles. But there's not a lot of time left on this jibe. So what Alinghi is doing is just blocking the long path to the finish line. And they'll give a little distance to Team New Zealand to the short side, which is where they're going now. But on the other jibe, the port jibe, that's the long jibe to the finish line. Here goes Team New Zealand jibing over. And watch for Alinghi to just jibe on the straight ahead, right on the bow of Team New Zealand. And if they really wanted to on Alinghi, they could lay the finish line from here on the opposite jibe. So here, right about now, Alinghi should start turning into a jibe. Here they go, bows down, the pole's coming off, main's coming across. So now it's an enormous distance for Team New Zealand to turn to the left of the screen to start blocking the wind of Alinghi. And in this amount of wind speed, I'm not sure they can get there. They're trying. Team New Zealand's going up, trying to get up in there.
There's a little bow up. It's good angle there.
Coots and Alinghi will come up. You hear Brad. Brad are the eyes of Russell. He's the eyes of Russell Coots in the back. He turns around and watches the other boat.
He's coming back now. No, it's all right. It's just
Team New Zealand's still going up. They're not done fighting. They're not giving up.
A little bit more runner on, guys. He's just same really. Okay, that's good, mister.
So you see Coots will look around every once in a while to get a perspective of where the other boat is, but Brad's basically telling him what he needs to know so that Russell can focus on getting the waves.
Slightly lower, same speed. It's one and in, all right?
All right, so they're going to jibe once more to finish.
This is the...
Brad's job is to keep the big picture in perspective, to understand where the other boat is, but mainly to understand where they are on the race course.
Yeah, you can.
Team New Zealand still reaching up, trying to block the wind of Alinghi.
It's downwind.
The thing is, you can't stop fighting. You just never know what might happen. The sail might rip in half. There's just things that happen on these boats.
Steer downwind of the pin from here if we did jibe. He's jibing now. Yeah.
And here goes Team New Zealand jibing. They realize that what their mode of doing it that way wasn't really working, so they take a jibe, see if Alinghi maybe will jibe with them. Alinghi's probably not going to fight. They'll probably sail straight ahead for a while.
Really good pressure here.
Give it a bit more of a rock.
Remember that port jibe, the one that Alinghi's on now, is the long jibe to the finish line. So Alinghi will probably hold on for another 3-4 boat lengths until they have clear air again behind Team New Zealand.
About 4 lengths off the lay line to the pin.
And that'll be close to lay line to the pin, as you hear. So I look for Alinghi to be jibing now in the next 10 or 15 seconds.
You take the pin because he's there.
Pin? Lay line to the pin. Yep, let's go then.
18.5 knots of breeze now from 356. So the breeze has filled in and then been very steady in direction.
Okay, Nadia.
And Alinghi jibes on the lay line for the pin.
And in this way to breeze over the last leg and a half, it's very difficult, isn't it, to pass under this way to breeze. Sort of the whole shape of the race that we saw in the first couple of off-wind legs, there was a chance to close down. Not here, not with the skill.
Well, downwind, it's a lot harder when the breeze is up, Peter, for the trailing boat, because what happens is the lead boat can turn up a little bit and gain speed, or they can turn way down and still not go that much slower than their normal targets. So they have a much bigger range of where they can sail. Where in lighter air, with the Jennekers, if they turn down much, they really slow down a lot.
There's a 5 degree, 6 degree bias to the boat.
How important was that start, and how important was what happened in the next 5 minutes by getting out to the right?
Well, that was it. I mean, everybody watching, I'm sure, is thinking, well, they could have done this or they could have done that, but it all boils down to that first 2 or 3 minutes of the first beat. And Alinghi just got the edge of something that came out of the right that had not happened all day long.
Well, they've got the margin then of what they've got now.
That's exactly right. And
the frustrating thing for Team New Zealand, who's about to be 0-3 down, is that they've got the equipment and the ingredients, but they're going to shut out. How important was that loss in race 2?
Breeze, eh?
And also the disaster in race 1 then.
No, it's kicked in.
The smiles aboard Alinghi. Things are looking great for the Alinghi Swiss Challenge as they come down to the line to take race 3 of America's Cup 2003.
Thank you.
Get one hand on the America's Cup. It's Alinghi winning race 3 and go to a 3-0 scoreline.
Good race, Warwick.
What a heartbreaker for Team New Zealand that have sailed just so well. As Team New Zealand come down to the line to finish 23 seconds or 4.5 boat lengths behind. They actually lost about 6 boat lengths when the breeze went right. This after we heard that Alinghi wanted the left and Team New Zealand had won the left, but it backfired on them today, and there's no doubt about it. The decision by the Alinghi afterguard to be comfortable with the ride has paid off. After race 2, Ernesto Bertarelli in front of media from around the world patted Brad Butterworth on back and said, "This is the man," meaning Butterworth's brilliant tactical ability to come from behind to grab race 2. Well, Butterworth today is the man, certainly with input from Murray Jones and Jochen Schumann. But the afterguard, by being comfortable to go to the right and get that vital first shift, have wrapped it up, because the margin they've beaten Team New Zealand by was what they gained in the first 10 minutes of the first beat.